After days of protests across Oklahoma, Governor Kevin Stitt commutes Julius Jones's sentence to life without the possibility of parole.
He has gone from death to life. Come on now, death to life.
Jones was convicted in the murder of Paul Howell in 1999. Howell's family says supporters of Jones are misinformed, and they believe the jury convicted the right man.
You just want to shout it at the rooftops and say, he's guilty, he's guilty.
Oklahoma's own News on 6 starts now with breaking news.
Thank you for joining us here at 5 o'clock. I'm Lori Fulbright.
And I'm Craig Day. We have team coverage of today's decision and reaction across the state. We start first with News on 6's Jonathan Cooper, who has more on the governor's decision to commute Julius Jones's sentence. Jonathan?
I'm between Leonard and Stone Bluff, looking east, back towards Coweta. Large funnel, more than halfway to the ground in that area.
It's a tornado.
Debris, we got debris hitting us. The high school, it hit the high school.
Yep, we will be here until we know for a fact that nobody's gotten hurt. We will be here until we know that all the damage has been assessed and we know what's going on.
First at 5 o'clock, people are cleaning up in many towns across the state after a severe storm system, including an EF1 tornado in Coweta and an EF0 tornado in Beggs, caused damage.
Those storms swept across Oklahoma last night, of course, bringing with them heavy rain, strong wind, and hail stretching 200 miles from Anadarko to Muskogee. Crews in Coweta are cleaning up after the tornado damaged a school there, and we have live team coverage this evening of damage across the state. We start in Coweta, where a lot of buildings have damage. Osage Sky News 6 pilot Dustin Stone gives us a view you'll only see on 6.
We are monitoring a large grass fire near Barnsdall this evening. We'll have a live report from the scene coming up.
For anybody who's a dog owner, pet owner, for something like this to happen is tragic.
A guy who police say stabbed another man and killed his dog is behind bars. My officers are warning all dog walkers tonight.
And an attorney is asking a judge for a shorter sentence after a man was convicted of murder with the recommendation of a life sentence.
That's why I've asked several times that all Americans in Ukraine leave now before it's too late to leave safely.
And President Joe Biden's message to the nation as tensions build between Russia and Ukraine. News on 6 at 9 starts right now.
Oklahoma's own News on 6 starts now.
And first here at 9, firefighters across Green Country have been busy all day long putting out grass fires. Thank you for joining us here tonight. I'm Brian Dorman.
And I'm Shannon ROUSSEAU. A lot of places saw fires today. Kellyville, Oshaleta, Barnsdall, even Tulsa. We have team coverage for you tonight here at 9. But we start with Station Knight over in the Bob Mills Weather Center with the latest. Stacia?
Nobody even said what to do. Everybody just say, stay calm, don't panic, and just stay home pretty much.
Ian Man, who went to school in Oklahoma, tells us what it was like to be in Ukraine at the start of the Russian invasion. Thanks for joining us. I'm Craig Day.
And I'm Lori Fulbright. He says he drove 500 miles on his moped with his girlfriend to try to get to safety. Now his friends here in Oklahoma are trying to help him get back to the U.S.
News on 6's Jordan Tidwell has the story. Firefighters are still working to put out a fire at a tire recycling plant in Bristow. We'll have the latest information from crews on the scene.
And Tulsa County deputies are asking for help as they search for a woman who's been missing now for more than 3 weeks. But first, here at 5 o'clock, we are following breaking news. A portion of Highway 75 is closed right now because a semi-truck and an SUV got into a wreck just south of 36th Street North. Thank you for joining us. I'm Lori Fulbright.
And I'm Craig Day. Police are diverting southbound traffic onto Highway 11 right now. News on 6's Jonathan Cooper is live near the scene of that crash with the latest information. Jonathan?
I've only missed 6 games.
Really?
Yeah, 6 games out of every single game I've been to.
Out of 9 seasons.
Seriously, home and away, even bowl games.
A Tulsa father and son have been more than to 115 OU football games covering 39 states in the last 9 years. And now they want to share their experiences with other fans who have never had a chance to go to a game.
So this year, Bill and JT Kaufman, they'll be bringing 2 guests to every home game for free. News on 6's Reagan Ledbetter joining us now in studio to tell us how to get a hold of these tickets. How are they going to pick a winner?
Well, it's pretty cool. Brian and Lori, I've known Bill and JT for the last 7 years or so. I don't know if I've ever met two people who love OU football more than them. Now, their life revolves around where the Sooners are playing on Saturdays in the fall. Literally. Now, they say football has created an unbreakable bond between them, and now they want to share that with others.
My fellow Americans, this was not a riot. This was a massacre.
President Joe Biden visits Tulsa to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the Tulsa Race Massacre.
Before his address, the president spent the afternoon in the Greenwood district, meeting with survivors and touring the Greenwood Cultural Center. This as he announces new steps to narrow what he calls the racial wealth gap in the United States. Thank you for joining us tonight for our special coverage of the president's visit. I'm Leanne Taylor.
And I'm Craig Day. We're told the president is on his way to the airport and will be departing shortly. We want to begin right now our team coverage with News on 6 anchor Lori Fulbright, who is live outside the Greenwood Cultural Center with more, Lori, on President Biden's announcements today.
I get to say partly sunny and mean it. Temperatures be in the low 60s. You can see the president getting ready to board Air Force One.
Thank you very much, Travis. And we have been monitoring the president as he left Greenwood moments ago, now arriving at Tulsa International Airport and preparing to board Air Force One. We're going to stay with this coverage until he gets out of the car, gets onto the plane, and gets out of town. But what an incredible day for Tulsa to be in the national spotlight.
Absolutely, and we do want to let people know that since President Biden is now at Tulsa International Airport, all the roads that Travis told you about just moments ago, they have since reopened. So folks that were bottlenecked trying to get home from work, they'll probably be home before too awful long. You can see the president climbing the staircase to board Air Force One after being in Tulsa to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the Tulsa Race Massacre, saying we must pay attention to this, open our eyes. It's been hidden for way too long, far too long, and that he is here to bring light to what happened 100 years ago.
We are following breaking news here at 5 o'clock in Edmond, where police are trying to arrest a Tulsa homicide suspect at a motel. A murder warrant was issued for Ollie Harris after police say he got into an argument with James Kennard at a house here in Tulsa last week.
They say Harris fired a shot into the house and hit Kennard in the chest. Edmond police say they are confident Harris is inside the room and they are negotiating with him right now since he's refusing to open the door. We will continue to follow the story and bring you the latest information. Rogers County District Attorney Matt Ballard is home recovering this evening after police say he was hit by a wrong-way driver in Claremore.
Ballard's young daughter was also in the truck when they were hit, but she's okay. Ballard spent the weekend in the hospital with some serious injuries.
News on 6's Reagan Ledbetter has more on the investigation. Reagan?
We continue to follow that breaking news in Edmond right now, where police are in a heavy presence surrounding a motel where they are trying to negotiate with a Tulsa homicide suspect. A murder warrant was issued in Tulsa County for Ollie Harris just after police say he got into an argument with a man and shot him. We have just learned, as we're telling you about the story, he is now in custody. So they have been working on that, negotiating with him for hours. He is now in custody. Eventually, he will be brought back to Tulsa.
We're following breaking news right now near 81st and Lewis, where firefighters are working a house fire.
Of course, that's over near Oral Roberts University. You can see the extensive damage at this home. Firefighters are calling it a total loss. We do have a reporter on the scene trying to figure out more about exactly what happened here. We'll have an update for you coming up tonight at 6 o'clock. Well, a U.S. Marine says goodbye to the dog he served with overseas.
He invited people to help give the dog a proper send-off, and News on 6's Johnny Resendez is live with more. Johnny?
Oklahoma's own News on 6 starts now.
Our Oklahoma weather experts are tracking a storm system that could bring strong winds and hail to parts of our area.
And dash cam video shows when a concrete truck overturns on I-244, injuring 3 people and shutting down the highway for hours. We're going to talk to a man who witnessed that crash and then jumped into hell. But first, here at 5 o'clock, crews discover human remains in Mays County in their search for a man who's been missing for 3.5 years.
Wesley Still Smoking disappeared in October of 2018. His car was found abandoned near Locust Grove, and he was pictured on a trail cam picture about a mile away from his car, but the rest remains a mystery.
News on 6's Reagan Ledbetter is live in Mays County with the latest on these dozens of searchers and what they found today. Reagan.
Craig and Lori, the goal for those dozens of searchers today was to finally give some answers and some closure to Wesley Still Smoking's family, and they hope, here behind me, they found remains. They're hoping that will finally give some closure to the family. You can see there's a crime scene here behind me. They've taped off this area. Live in Mays County, Reagan Ledbetter, Oklahoma's own News on 6.
Tulsa police are asking for help to find a woman they believe could be in danger. They say 26-year-old Cheyenne Bauman was known to be in the Jinx or West Tulsa area on February 18th. Her family tells officers they have not heard from her since February 15th. If you see her or know where she is, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers at 918-596-COPS.
Well, it's been a cloudy, windy day today. We've had wind gusts anywhere from 25 up to almost 30 miles per hour out of the south. We'll talk more about the storm threat coming up in a few minutes.
We're seeing dash cam video of a crash that shut down eastbound I-244 near the Red Fork Split in Tulsa for several hours. News on 6's Jonathan Cooper joins us live with the details. Jonathan?
Well, Craig, as you can see, traffic is moving normal again here in West Tulsa, but it was a busy, crazy scene earlier today. Now, 5 vehicles were involved, and now we're getting a look at what happened. The Highway Patrol says the driver who had that faulty hitch with the trailer will be ticketed. Reporting live in Tulsa, Jonathan Cooper, Oklahoma's own News on 6.
And all northbound lanes on Highway 169 are closed from I-244 to Pine after a trash truck flipped on its side, spilling diesel all over the road. Police say that driver was swerving to avoid a large shovel for a merchandise dirt digger from the road, causing that truck to flip. They say the driver was transported to the hospital but expected to be okay. Right now, all northbound traffic on 169 is being diverted over to the interstate. Tulsa's fire hazmat team is still working to clean up those fluids.
The Pentagon says Russia has fired more than 900 missiles in only 3 weeks. Delegates from Russia and Ukraine say they will continue talks tomorrow, but Russia is still attacking residential areas, big cities, and a key military base. Ukraine says the Russians have killed thousands of civilians so far. Ukrainian leaders say about 160 vehicles carrying civilians were able to evacuate. The United Nations estimates nearly 3 million refugees have fled Ukraine. We're also learning the White House is discussing a possible presidential trip to Europe in the coming weeks.
Republicans and Democrats in Congress are now calling on the Biden administration to provide Ukraine with fighter jets to help defend that country from Russia's invasion. The administration rejected the deal last week, saying it could risk an open conflict between Russia and NATO. Several U.S. senators visited Poland this weekend and expressed their support for the deal. Tonight at 6, News on 6's Alex Cameron will talk with Senator James Lankford to find out why he supports providing those fighter jets.
Voters have 1 week to request an absentee ballot for the April 5th election. The Tulsa, Union, Owasso, Jenks, Sand Springs, and Bixby school districts all have school board seats on the ballot. Folks in Sand Springs can also vote on a city council position, and voters in Owasso will decide on an $84 million school bond. Your county election board needs to get the absentee ballot application no later than 5 p.m. next Monday.
Summer will be here before we know it, so the city of Tulsa is already getting ready to hire people for those summer activities. Why they say that keeping the pools open and the camps fully staffed is so important.
We're here to play basketball and win championships.
And a new tribally owned team is bringing professional basketball to Shawnee.